Ciao a tutti.
Hello.
Benvenuto.
What did you just say? What language are you speaking in? Why are you speaking Italian? Welcome back.
I'm back from my wonderful trip to Rome. I had a wonderful time, and as you maybe saw the videos that I had sent back. It's a challenge to make videos out and about. It's not easy. People like to walk in front of you. People like to walk behind you. People like to scream near you, and so it's a little challenging.
You should have done like an interview series where you just like ran up to people and just asked them random questions.
Random questions.
Although I might have been getting you out of Italian jail.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you made it back in one piece.
I'm happy to be back.
We missed you. It wasn't the same doing this solo. I had to like alternate personalities. But it's good to have you back. And just in time. But let's look back at what we have experienced, both in your absence and also with your presence. You got back, when did you get back? What
March 3rd.
So you got back just in time for the St. Patrick's Day parade. Yeah. When the pastor was away, I had a crazy idea. So Father Anthony was in Rome, and I enlisted the help of the East Islip Fire Department, the hook and ladder guys, to hang a gigantic 18-foot long by 12-foot wide flag on our tower. I'm sure you saw that. It gained a lot of attention. And then Father Anthony came back and he said, "I want an Italian flag now." So we, it was one of the many ways in which we celebrated St. Patrick's Day here in East Islip. It was the beginning of St. Patrick's month that I was very happy to participate.
The Irish like to practice that for a whole month.
Well, March 17th is the day that we commemorate the death of St. Patrick. And what are the Irish known for?
Death and sorrow songs and
having a good time at the wake.
And having a good time.
So it would make sense that St. Patrick would have like the greatest ever wake party. We've been celebrating for almost 2,000 years. So the celebration certainly...
She went down the hill and now she's dead.
I grew up with those songs, and maybe explains the way I am. But we began the celebration in earnest here in East Islip. We celebrated our Irish heritage. We celebrated our Catholic heritage. We welcomed the Grand Marshal and his family and the Ladies' Aid. Tom McHugh was the Grand Marshal and Patty Fitzpatrick was the Ladies' Aid. They were all present along with a number of the members of the Hibernians at the 9 o'clock Mass, and then we stepped off, and it was a beautiful, beautiful early March day. It was ridiculously nice. It was warm, a little bit of a breeze, so it made the kilt a little chilly, but it was a really great day. From what I've been told, and this is only our third year here in East Islip, from what I've been told, it was by far the busiest and most crowded parade. Again, the weather certainly helps, and everyone loves Tom and Patty, but it was just a great spirit of Irishness, if that's a word.
Since we're here, this is the first year that the school marched, and they had over 80 family and kids, students from the school march. And that was great to see, and they came and had a bit of a reception afterwards in Sacred Heart Hall, and that was really a lot of fun. So I was bundled up out on the sidelines there, waving to everybody.
You were bundled up. It was like 50-something degrees.
I was bundled up.
You were having transition.
It was from the plane.
From the Roman warmth, I guess, to the chill.
I got the breeze on my neck.
I know, I saw you.
The Italians will know what that means.
I saw you bundled up in the steps. I was like, okay. Meanwhile, I was in the kilt, probably going to get myself a death of cold. But in the midst of all the celebration, we are still in the Lenten season. And with that in mind, we had a really awesome few days with a number of our parishioners. We had 20 parishioners, and myself, Father Anthony, and Rose, who's with us as well, up at the seminary up in Huntington and Lloyd Harbor.
That was a very good experience. Really nice. I think everybody enjoyed that. It was a nice way to kind of ease into all the... It was the first week of, right? The first week of Lent?
Second week? Kind of like right in the middle of it almost. So it was good because we could kind of like check in and be like, well, how's our Lent going so far? And we got, these amount of weeks between now and Holy Week. And we had 20 parishioners, which I thought was like a perfect number. and we were able to get to. What was cool too is it was a few St. Peter's parishioners, a number of St. Mary's parishioners, and even people that we kind of think know each other. A lot of connections were made, and hopefully new friendships were formed. That's one of the graces of any retreat, but especially I think that we experienced. And literally this morning at the 9 o'clock Mass, two ladies that were at the retreat came up to me, and again they were saying how they're kind of still remaining in that state of grace that they experienced over that weekend. So I'm glad that that fire is remaining and it's carrying them up into Holy Week, which is great.
We had a parish soup supper, which is a tradition in many parishes. They do a fish fry on Fridays, during Lent, or they have St. Peter's we have done in the past, and we had one as well this year, a soup supper just before the Stations of the Cross. And they had, I think Father Charles spoke. No?
You did? Yeah, St. Peter's he spoke.
At St. Peter's, yeah. But we had one here as well, and there was a nice gathering of people, and there was a reflection, and thank you to the Rosarians for who made the soup and all, and it's a tradition that diocesan-wide, countrywide.
Oh yeah,
is that a word? Across the nation. Yeah. So we had that going on. We also last night, Father Brian Barr was here for a holy hour. Father John, you were there, and he says that everything went well. Nobody got hurt.
Yeah, we had again with Lent and Advent. Those are two seasons that the Church kind of affords us, where we can take a particular dive into our own spiritual lives and our own selves. And obviously, back in Advent, we had the mission with Father Veris, which people really received well. We mentioned the retreat that we had, which we could only accommodate a certain amount of people. So we were trying to balance out the fact we had a big Advent event with the 3 nights with Father Veris. We had the retreat, but we also wanted to create different opportunities for people to pray and to be with one another and to encounter the Lord in a really concrete and intentional way. So we had the Holy Hour last night. We had daytime prayer, and I think we still have one more this coming Tuesday. Very, very simple at the beginning of exposition.
We get a nice crowd for that, too.
We do, yeah. Just a few brief moments of prayer as part of what the Church calls the Liturgy of the Hours. But last night we wanted to also have a larger scale event. And we had almost 100 people. We had like 80, 90 people there. And we've been doing, as you know, if you've been listening to us, these, or if you've been to them, these almost monthly holy hours. And what I love is every month new folks come that haven't been there previously, and they all say how it's such an amazingly fruitful time of prayer. It's different, it's nighttime, the church is dimly lit, there are candles up on the altar, the Eucharist is there in the monstrance. And Father Brian's awesome. He was the vocation director when I entered the seminary, and I've remained friends with him since. So it was kind of cool to share my church with him, to welcome him here. And we recorded the homily, and I think it's going to be on our social media in the coming days. So if you weren't able to be there last night, we hope you can check that out.
I was at 2 diocesan meetings yesterday. So one of them, the Presbyteral Council, it's a group of priests in the diocese who we speak with the bishop, and he tells us what's going on in the diocese. But one of the things Father Bishop Ange, who's been here to speak with us, he's in charge of the Eucharistic revival that is starting up. Actually, I believe it started. Mm-hmm. So we'll be seeing more and more things. I mean, in our parish, we have a lot of holy hours and time to sit before the Blessed Sacrament. But there's going to be more and more things coming out, and I'm looking really forward to it. And it sounds like a lot of great things. One of the other things I'll just throw in real quick is in June is the month of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And Bishop Barris is pushing for us all, for the whole diocese, to make a consecration to the Sacred Heart, to recognize God's love and there's going to be a whole bunch of prayer opportunities and retreat opportunities and diocesan-wide things that we'll be able to participate in. Bishop's going to send us that information. I believe he said sometime this week or next week, right after Easter. So be on the lookout for that. We have.
Ready to roll up our sleeves and get to work.
Oh yeah,
It's a busy season.
It's Holy Week, which is a beautiful. Of course, it's a beautiful time throughout the year. To all the fruits of our prayer, fasting, and almsgiving come to new life in us during this Holy Week, where we focus in on God's love for us and Jesus' love for us in his suffering, death, and resurrection. So just be on the lookout in the bulletin. There's a lot going on. Monday is Reconciliation Monday. In the past, we've always had 3 to 9 here at St. Mary's, but the diocese has recognized that the priests need a little time to have some dinner in between.
lest we perish in the confessional.
Yes. I complained a lot. So just be careful those hours.
Yeah.
And then Tuesday we have the Chrism Mass. Bishop asked me to invite everybody in the parish to the Chrism Mass at 11 o'clock at St. Agnes.
I think it's in the afternoon.
Oh, it's in the afternoon?
It used to be, it's confusing. It used to be on Holy Thursday at 11. Check out the diocesan website.
It might be
social
at
media.
4.
I think it's in the afternoon. We just changed it a couple of years ago, so.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful Mass.
For 30 years, for me, it's been 11 o'clock.
It is 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock at the cathedral.
I can edit that. Yeah, it is a beautiful Mass. I grew up, as you know, in Rockville Center at St. Agnes. And I remember distinctly as a kid. He's making fun of my home. So I sang in the choir for those masses, and to see all the priests of the diocese present in one place around the bishop is a really cool experience. So if you can make it, you're more than welcome.
If you can't make it, and you can watch it on Catholic Faith Network, CFN. I believe it's also CFN.TV. You can watch it on your phone. They have a live broadcast of it. It's it's called the Chrism Mass because it's the time when the bishop blesses and consecrates the holy oils, the oil of catechumens, the holy oil, the sacred chrism, which is used for ordinations, confirmations, baptisms, and then also the oil of the sick when we make our visits to those who are very ill. So we bring Jesus's presence and love to them in those difficulties, and then the church's prayers for them at that time. So that's the Chrism Mass at 4 o'clock. I have to change my calendar.
They show up to St. Agnes. Where is everyone?
Where is everyone?
Tumbleweed going through the parking lot.
I could find a restaurant to wait. Then there's morning prayers on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The only Mass you're allowed to have on Holy Thursday is the Mass of the Lord's Supper, which is in the evening, and we have the Mandatum there, the washing of the feet. And then on Good Friday, there is no Mass. We have a commemoration of the Lord's Passion, so no Mass is celebrated, but we do have communion, which was consecrated the evening before at the Mass of the Lord's Supper. So you're not allowed to have it. We can't have Mass then. And there's no Mass permitted until the Easter Vigil. So on Saturday morning, we have a morning prayer as well. So just look for all those times in the bulletin. There's also a few other things. There's the, do we have it on here? The Children's Station of the Cross at St. Peter's. And then there's... 12 noon. That's at St. Peter's. Usually they try to do it out on the... No.
They can do it
They
downstairs.
didn't do it downstairs.
Up to
The
church,
lawn
right?
was COVID.
No.
Then there's the Passion, the celebration of the Lord's Passion. That's the official prayer of the church, is the 3 o'clock Passion. And so that's a beautiful celebration with veneration of the cross as well. And then there's a Passion concert here at 7 p.m. That was really beautiful last year. Barbara and the choir all did a beautiful concert for us, which is another traditional thing in the church to prepare for the celebration, is to use the beautiful art and the beautiful music that our church has and has formed for these celebrations.
Just to go back for a minute to Holy Thursday, you mentioned the Mass of the Lord's Supper. There's something that occurs after that which I find really beautiful and powerful. I always have, really since my early days of seminary. We have the Mass, and then there's a procession. The Mass will be in the auditorium. Just as an FYI, I know we moved a lot of our Masses into the church. Well, we're rolling back. We're going to the auditorium again. For
good thing we don't fit in the church.
Right. Just for Palm Sunday, just to be clear, so the 9 o'clock and the noon Masses, which have now been moved to the church, will be back in the auditorium for Palm Sunday. And all of the principal liturgies for the Triduum.
I'm glad you told me.
Are you going to show up?
I'm just doing the church.
Where is everyone? I only know because I have the 9 o'clock. I think I've got the 9 o'clock on Palm Sunday, and I just want to make sure I'm not in the wrong place. But on Holy Thursday, after the Mass of the Lord's Supper, there will be a procession from the auditorium into the church, and the church will become what we call a chapel of repose, and churches throughout the world will have these alternate locations to kind of symbolize the Lord's procession from the upper room into the Garden of Gethsemane, where he invited Peter, James, and John to remain awake with him in prayer. And of course we know that begins the true drama of Holy Week and the Triduum. And for we ourselves, we enter into that in a very particular way, and the churches around the country will stay open, usually until midnight. I know that's what we're going to do here at St. Mary's. And there's a tradition that, it's interesting, I mentioned it to a few individuals and not many people had heard of it. It's traditionally the visitation of 7 churches. This makes more sense when you're in a tight urban area like Rome or New York City or another urban setting. Here, obviously, with our suburban reality, parishes are a bit more spread out. What I did last year was I visited 4 churches. So I started here at St. Mary's, then I went up to St. Peter's and I spent some time there in prayer. Then I continued up to St. John of God, which is beautiful because a lot of folks were praying different devotions proper to the Latino heritage and culture, so I got to experience that for a little bit, and then I finished up at St. Patrick's in Bay Shore. So I got 4 churches in. There's no law that you have to check 7 off the box. I just try to meander around, and even I find myself, I'm in the car by myself going from church to church, and it's a very unique experience to Holy Week and to Holy Thursday. So if it's something you're up to and up for, it would be a nice experience. But even if you just want to remain here at St. Mary's and pray through the night, you're most welcome to do so up until midnight. Also,
just another thing about Holy Thursday, it's the feast of priesthood. So it's a special day for priests. We usually get together in the afternoon or something to have some lunch together and things like that. So one of the cool traditions they had at the seminary that I went to, St. Joseph's up in Dunwoody, is on Holy Thursday, the priests of the house would serve the seminarians. So they would have these goofy chef hats on and these aprons, and they would serve us dinner to kind of symbolize their role of service. So yeah, just a fun little thing. And during the Chrism Mass, there's a part in the Chrism Mass that we renew our promises to the bishop and the church to serve faithfully the Catholic faith. So that's why it was usually on Holy Thursday, because it has that connection with the renewal of promises and then to say the Mass together in the evening. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And then there's Easter, Holy Saturday, the Easter Vigil, 8:15. The reason why it's kind of like in an odd hour is because there's a formula There's a formula for everything. And the formula is that you can't start the vigil mass until it's dark. And so to do that, the formula is 45 minutes after sunset. You're sure to have complete darkness. So that's why it's at 8:15 this year. When it's later, it's usually about 8:15 or earlier. Then we could, if it's earlier in the month, like at the end of March, like would be like this weekend, we could do it earlier. So
at that Easter Vigil, I'm going to have the privilege of confirming, I think 12 or 13 candidates. There are a few candidates that, for different reasons, won't be confirmed at the Vigil, but I've been really blessed since September to oversee this group of RCIA candidates, adults who will either be baptized into the church and receive all of their sacraments of initiation, those who are baptized but not Catholic who will be received into full communion with the Catholic Church and who will complete their initiation process. And then we've got a number of others who haven't, when they were children, they didn't receive the sacrament of confirmation, so we're going to celebrate that with them. We had a big group last year as well. It's always a powerful moment of new life in the church, which is why one of the many reasons why the church invites us to celebrate these sacraments in the Easter season, and specifically the Easter Vigil. So if you are present for the Easter Vigil, you'll certainly experience that. But if you're not, please continue to pray for those candidates who very joyfully and eagerly are awaiting the reception of their sacraments at the Vigil.
On Easter Sunday, just to make a quick reminder, there are two 12 noon masses, one in the church, one in the auditorium. Mm-hmm. We're expecting good crowds for that. Spring raffles going on. You can get your tickets after Mass or here at the rectory during the week. Mm-hmm. I saw Barbara selling the tickets after Mass. So Barbara Wilson, our organist and director of music, will be doing that. She does a great job with that raffle.
The raffle's going to take place in May. But the tickets are on sale now.
Yeah.
So it might seem like a ways away, but definitely feel free.
A lot of work that goes into it,
and a lot of really good prizes too.
Yeah, right.
I kind of throw my own hat in the ring there. But yeah, the tickets can be purchased, as Father Anthony mentioned. He saw Barbara at and some of her other helpers after weekend masses. You can come here to the rectory office. You can also buy them online via PayPal. So we invite you to look into any of those options for your ticket buying. And good luck to all.
There's an Easter egg hunt on April 11th, Tuesday. I guess that's the Tuesday after Easter, right? On the lawn behind the rectory, so behind the White House. Everybody knows the White House. And then there's the Easter break bingo, which was a big success after Christmas, right? Was it?
It was like February break.
February break? Okay.
It's after Christmas, you're not wrong.
I remember bingo. Good Catholic, I am. So there's the bingo, that's Wednesday, April 12th at 2 o'clock in the auditorium. And then Divine Mercy Sunday, our Holy Father, John Paul II, made the second Sunday of Easter, gave it the name of Divine Mercy Sunday. So it's a great prayer that's connected to many Marian apparitions. There's a great book, or you can even get it on formed.org. It's called The Second Greatest Story Ever Told. And it's about the Divine Mercy and the connection to Fatima and La Salette and so on. So it's really an interesting, I just got the book to read it again. But that's April 16th, and Mike Cohen will be leading that at 3 o'clock in the church. It's very short. It's takes only maybe 10, excuse me, at the most 10 minutes. Not to saying that prayer has to be fast, but Rosary is about 20 minutes, but the Divine Mercy is about 10 minutes. And we ask reparation for the sins of the world and God's mercy. We remember God's mercy as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then...
As you can see behind us, we've been obviously celebrating 125 years. You're probably so tired of hearing us talking about it, but believe it or not, we're kind of starting around third base and heading home, where our year celebration is coming to a conclusion. But we still have a lot of exciting things to come, including one of our sort of capstone events to really bring the whole year together is going to be our parish gala celebration on June 14th.
Emblem. I'll keep going.
What?
I'm sorry.
like squirrel. So we're going to celebrate on June 14th. It's going to be, we've already put out save the dates, and invitations and sponsorship opportunities will be in the mail in the coming days. We're going to celebrate at the mansion at Timber Point. It's going to be at 6 o'clock on June 14th. And we're very excited to announce, we've just finalized it this week, that our entertainment for the evening will be none other than Rich Mahogany. And we know Rich Mahogany is a very popular South Shore band. The guys are from the Bay Shore, Islip area. They always perform at different venues, especially in the summertime. They always have a big following.
They had about 1,000 people across in the park last year.
Yeah, over at Brooklyn Hall, they had like 1,000 people. Yeah. So they're kind of like a local institution. So it's going to add to the fun and the festive nature of celebrating this great parish that we love, and the 125 years that have preceded us, and all the good that is to come. And you've got a little
just to close up, because we're running a little behind here. Because we never know when to be quiet.
Gift of gab.
Gift of gab.
When I went to Ireland, they said, "Did he kiss the Blarney Stone?" I said, "I don't need to," and I didn't.
We have our new parish logo here with the 125th, but I don't know. Can you see that there? That's the new school logo. I don't know if you've gotten the chance to see it yet, but kind of. The parts of it have come from that logo we put into here as well. But there's a little homage to the past with the shield and water and all. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention because I think it looks great. Thanks to Rose. Sitting behind the camera here. That was her hand you probably saw before.
Many hours of work, but all for a good thing. So a lot to look forward to. A lot that we just recapped.
Yep.
Whew. Happy Friday and blessed Holy Week.
Yes. And have a blessed Holy Week.
See you in church.
Yes. Ciao.